Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you are looking for information on Monroe, North Carolina, one of the more popular growing suburbs of Charlotte, you've come to the right video. We are going to dive in and I'm going to uncover a lot of information with regards to Monroe, and we are going to take a look at the Monroe area from an aerial view. And I'm going to point out some of the biggest spots where you might want to be checking out, especially if you're thinking about making the move. Now, if you've come to my channel and you're looking for everything Charlotte, North Carolina, the ins, the outs, North Carolina, South Carolina, everything in between, you've come to the right channel. Go ahead and like and subscribe, and if you want to hear more, every time I drop a video, hit that notification button. Now, I get calls, I really do, every single day from people just like you looking to move to the area. I get calls, texts, emails, Zoom invites, everything. If that's you, go ahead and check out the description below. All of my contact information is there, whether it's 9 days or 90 days, whether you're moving across the world, the country, or just across town. I would like to help you make your move everything you want it to be. So let's dive into Monroe. What is Monroe, North Carolina? Well, it was a place where most people did not want to move. And honestly, if you talk to some native Charlotteans, they'll probably tell you the same thing. Don't go to Monroe. But here's what I'm going to tell you. Monroe is making some big changes, and a lot of that has to do with the economy growing, great prices on properties, and 74 opening the toll lane, which is making it a lot easier to get to and from the area. Now, with this change comes, of course, a fluctuation of more people coming into the area. And in fact, it's grown quite a bit over the last couple of years. But let's get into the details. I'm going to show you a map overview and all the information you could possibly need to know about Monroe. So let's go ahead and dive in. Let's talk Monroe, North Carolina, one of what I would consider the up-and-coming old towns around Charlotte. So you know how I do this. Let's go ahead and start from a zoomed out view here. So here you have Charlotte. Now, for those of you who are new to my channel, I'm going to give you a little lowdown. So this is the uptown area. By the way, we have no downtown. This is the uptown area of Charlotte inside 277. As we zoom out, you're going to notice we've got this outer belt called 485. And then we have a few roads that kind of come out from downtown Charlotte. I do call it downtown. I know, I'm already saying the wrong things. I can't help myself. I'm a New Yorker. So anyway, by heart. So if I come down this way, this is where Monroe is. So let's do a quick zoom out. You can see it sits a little ways out, but the town itself, this is the city border right here. You can see it's right outside of 45. You can start being inside of Monroe. Super cute area. So we're going to get back to this. Let me give you a 10,000 foot view or more, honestly. And I'm going to go into my little layers here. Don't mind me. All right, I wanted to see if it would zoom out better. And so here we have the state of North Carolina and South Carolina. Now, one thing I'm going to point out when it comes to Charlotte, we are, and Charlotte's a part of Monroe / Monroe is a part of Charlotte, should I say. So if we're taking a look at this area, we are about 3.5 hours from Wilmington, 3.5 hours from Myrtle Beach, and 3.5 hours from Charleston. So you can hit 3 different major beaches in about 3.5 hours. What I'll also note is you're only about an hour and a half south from Elkin and Boone, these kinds of areas up here. Here's Boone. So you can pretty much get there in about an hour and a half, and you're 2 hours from Asheville. So Charlotte, it's really easy for you to take a weekend trip, whether it be to the beach or to the mountains. Here's where things get cool. Let's check out Monroe. Monroe cuts down on your drive to the beach by about 30 to 45 minutes, depending upon where you are in here. So if you live in North Charlotte and you're going to the beach, it's 3.5 hours. But if you live in Monroe, you're looking at about 2 hours and 45 minutes. That's a big deal. So if you do enjoy going to the beach, but you want to be close to Charlotte, this might be a really good location for you. So let's talk about actual commute times though, because this is why I love pulling up the map. So we're going to go ahead and take a look. Obviously, we're in Monroe. I'm going to get some directions going here. We're going to get some directions to downtown Charlotte. So I just pulled up Charlotte to Monroe. So this is just before rush hour, give or take. It's about a 47-minute drive coming straight out of downtown Charlotte. Now, where you can expect differences is depending upon where you work, let's say. So a lot of people work in Ballantyne. that'll cut you down to about 38 minutes. Or if we come all the way up here into, let's say, Highland Creek area, all the way down, again, you're looking at a decent commute of about 41 minutes. So anywhere you're going to go, you're going to hit a little bit of a drive. That's one of the biggest downsides to Monroe. No matter where you need to go to work, you're probably going to be at least 30 to 45 minutes to get there. So that's why a lot of people haven't moved out that way. Now, I will say the same is true, and you guys have seen me talk about 𝗖𝗀. I love 𝗖𝗀, but it's so far out there. It's going to be at least a 50-minute drive no matter where you are. Monroe is very similar. Now, what sets Monroe and 𝗖𝗀 apart is Monroe is a place where no one wanted to go live. I'm going to be very candid about that. No one wanted to go live in Monroe. And if you ask any native Charlottean, they're like, ugh, Monroe, right? Monroe to them is like Gastonia, and we'll get to Gastonia another time. But when we're talking about Monroe, the reason why most people didn't go there, it took even longer to get there before the toll road. Now the toll road, it's a little bit easier, but what we're also now seeing is a ton of growth, and we're going to talk about why that growth is there. So what has changed? Why has Monroe started to grow? Well, if we take a look at Charlotte as a whole, there's only so much land. So we have to go somewhere. Well, this all started, and I'll X out of here right now. So this all started as the Stallings Indian Trail area started to expand. Now, as you can see, this area is right off 485, so easy access everywhere. And honestly, if you're interested in being paying less for land / a house and being close enough to Charlotte, Stallings and Indian Trail are great locations. Stallings Indian Trail right here. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Monroe starts as far north as right here. So you could technically be in Monroe, but not be in Monroe, which will cut your drive by about 15 minutes. That's a lot when you're talking about commute times. That's 30 minutes per day. But the reason why it started to grow is because builders started building. Now, the average age for a home in Monroe is about 31 years old. That tells you a lot, right? There was the boom back in the 90s of homes being built, and then everything kind of slowed down. There wasn't a whole lot going on here. Now there's over a dozen builders building various priced properties, anywhere from townhouses in the 350s all the way up into 600 to 800 range, depending upon what you're looking for. Because they had to go further out from Charlotte in order to be able to get the land that was of an appropriate price, to be able to build for a competitive sales price. So if you want a little bit of land, and by land I mean at least a quarter acre, you want to have that opportunity for some really pretty properties and houses, this is going to be one of your best places to go. In Charlotte, it's going to be Monroe, because the prices are so much lower than anywhere else. In fact, the same house in Monroe, if you go up to Huntersville, you're looking at probably an extra $100,000 just to be in Huntersville. Now, don't mind me wrong, I love Huntersville. It's probably one of my favorite places around Charlotte. But Monroe has opportunity. That's one of the biggest things. So along with this opportunity, let's talk a little bit about the town itself. So the town was founded back in the early 1800s, and it goes back just like most towns here in the Carolinas, a lot of farming around here. But one thing that's changed is the types of industries that Monroe is now known for. So healthcare. Healthcare is one of the top, I'm going to call, industries when it comes to economic value in the Monroe area. They have a hub for multiple hospitals. They have actual hospital systems in Monroe, which is great. The healthcare is great. Plenty of availability. But one of the more intriguing ones, I was even doing my research on this, it is now known as a hub for aviation. That's right, aerospace. Planes, you name it, is right here. And the reason being, they built this airport right here, the Charlotte Monroe Executive Airport. Now, this airport is probably not one that you would actually go to on a regular basis. So this is a place where the aviation industry can go and test out their new planes and test things out that might be going into process. So with that being said, aviation is now a big industry in the Monroe area. I am absolutely stunned by this, but that's pretty cool. So some of the other major industries, like many areas around Charlotte and most major cities, are manufacturing, retail, and construction. A lot of construction companies that house their homes in Monroe, again, very similar reasons. There's availability of land. They can store their equipment at a much lower price. And look at all this. Everything that's green in here, we're talking a ton of land in the area. So what can we foresee for the area? Well, given the fact that there's so much availability when it comes to land in and around here, we're going to see more new construction coming. We're going to see larger or more home developments that are starting to be put in by various developers. So that's what I want to kind of harp on right here. When it comes to housing, we're not just talking about some of your low price or low ticket builders. We're talking Toll Brothers, we're talking Empire, we're talking Mattamy, Pulte, Lennar, you name it. They're starting to buy up properties, if not already building, in and around this area. So why would you want to be in Monroe? What is there to look forward to? Well, for one thing, like I already mentioned 100 times, lesser of a price for the home that you're buying. But one of the other advantages to this is homes and properties are more spread out. So even if you're buying resale, you have the opportunity to get a few acres of land and still be close enough to Charlotte. In fact, you're going to be a lesser drive than Waxhaw. But the big difference here is Waxhaw is one of the most affluent towns outside of Charlotte. Monroe, not so much. It might get there, but more than likely it's going to remain a little bit more blue collar, which I love. See, I feel like everybody needs an opportunity to be able to buy a property and live in the Carolinas, especially in Charlotte, because I love Charlotte. So that means there's different areas for everyone and every price range, and I love that. So while we're on the topic of homes, let's talk about the median home price. In Monroe, the median home value is $289,000, while the median home income is $58,000. Now, this makes it a fairly affordable place to purchase a home, and your dollar's going to stretch a little bit farther. Now, another thing I like to point out is schools. So Monroe actually has some pretty decent schools. Now, it depends upon what website you're going to, but the ratings are anywhere between 6 to 8 out of 10, which is really good. Now, if we're comparing it to the rest of the United States, they're actually 86% better than the average school district in the US, which is extremely impressive, especially being most people consider Monroe to be rural. It's actually got a great education system. And the student-to-teacher ratios are really low, meaning less students per teacher, which means your child actually can get more attention in class instead of some of the more overpopulated schools in other areas of the region. Now, in talking about schools and the population, I know I mentioned that it's a little bit more blue collar. What I mean by that is you have less people that have a 4-year degree in college, and a lot of people here actually have gone to trade schools. So the economy is strong because there is money coming in and people are actually successful, but not in the traditional sense that many have in their minds of, I have to go to college. In fact, Monroe actually has a 19.4% 4-year college population, meaning 19.4% of the population has been through 4-year college and has a degree, which leads us to understand that you don't need to go to college in order to be successful, which I absolutely love. Okay, so now that we know a little bit about Monroe, let's dive into downtown. Okay, so now that we've talked a little bit about Monroe, the housing market, the population, education, and more, let's take a look at the actual downtown area. So like most towns, you've got a main street that runs right through Monroe, and here we have it. North Hayes Street intersecting with Franklin Street. So there's a lot going on down here. I will show you exactly what is happening. So right here, I'm going to click on this. So right here, this is Main Street. And let me go ahead and pull this up here, give you a better view of it. So this is the main strip through Monroe. It literally looks like it was just captured in a picture of the early 1900s and it never changed. The cool thing about it, though, everything around it has, of course, blossomed and grown, but all the buildings still remain in their original form. Now, some really cool things about this downtown strip, as you can see, obviously all updated, but one little known part about Monroe, you can't see them, there's speakers on all of the corners. You see, there's little speakers here. They play music downtown. It is the cutest little thing. I absolutely loved it. I was walking up and down these streets doing some video for another of my videos on Monroe, and they had music going. It honestly totally changed the vibe of my walk. So this right here, this is the courthouse. This has been around for a very, very, very long time, as you can see, and they do actually still meet in this courthouse. So this is an active courthouse. But look how beautiful the architecture is on this property. Absolutely gorgeous. I love things like that. So this is what you can expect downtown. Now, along with that, there's a ton of restaurants, of course, businesses, and the types of businesses, they run the gamut. So let's go ahead and see if we can get this pulled up here. So as I said, there's always a main street, literally always. So here's your North Main Street right here. You might have seen this, and there might be an icon somewhere on the screen here in a second of my other video where I walked through downtown Monroe. But there are so many wonderful businesses on this strip here. And Morgan Alley, there's a ton of artwork, and it's just really cool to see areas like that in little downtown. So you're gonna have your little shops like this one right here. You've got Backstage Vintage Apparel. If we go a little bit further, you've got a shoe repair shop, which I appreciate. I love my shoes, so I don't like to get rid of them. You've got even a law firm down here. You've got 𝗖𝗁 Coffee. Their coffee is so good. I'm gonna give you a little look inside. They completely redid this. There's actually stairs up in the back here, and it goes to this little loft area, and they've got a back patio to sit on and a front patio. Their lattes are to die for, personally, but it's actually still a really great little spot if you just want to get out of the house, go sit, go enjoy. Just absolutely fantastic. I love the vibe in this place. So you can pop in there, and then you can go across the street to 𝗖cie Sandwich Shop. Now, this sandwich shop has actually been around forever. It opened in the 1930s. That's how long this sandwich shop has been there. And of course, they change up their menu a little bit, but the fact that it's been around that long is amazing. It's simple. You're not going to find a vegan wrap or anything in there, but the coolest part about it is right next to it is the theater. So we're going to get to that right now. The Dow Theater. Now, this was actually shut down for many years, but it has reopened. You can go see concerts in there. They always have new bands and things like that that are coming through. You can see the interior here. But the whole thing was regentrified and reopened. It's actually a beautiful space, and I'm so happy they were able to bring the arts back to Monroe. So you see there's some plays and things like that. Very cool. And all this is right in the little downtown. It's awesome. So if we go a little bit further, you saw this in my video, my other video as well, Embellish Boutique. So Embellish, literally the largest Yeti collection I've ever seen in my life. Not even kidding you. But they had a little bit of everything. Great shop. I love shopping local. They've got anything you could possibly want. And honestly, if you are trying to find some place to go get gifts for someone, this would be the place. This would be the place I would go. They've got so many different options, whether it's for new babies, for Christmas, for anything. They have it. So you definitely have to go check it out. Honestly, Monroe is one of those little towns that I would love to just spend a Saturday morning walking through. You've got different little restaurants and boutiques and everything else all scattered throughout this area. Now, while this is Monroe proper, if we zoom out, I'm going to go back to this. If we zoom out, there are houses and things all around here. And in my other video, I stayed within this realm right here because I wanted to give people an idea of, you know, what kind of house you could get close to the downtown area. But here's what I'm going to show you. There is so much more outside of this downtown area. You can get homes ranging in any price, any year built, any kind of regentrification on it. You've got it. There's a ton of renos that have happened in this area, and they are just stunning. So there's a lot to see. Now I'm going to highlight a few other little things here, one of which is Treehouse Vineyards. Now, Treehouse Vineyards literally has tree houses on the property. You can go rent these for the night. They're really cool. But the vineyards are so pretty, very tranquil. This is a fun one. You can go sit around and go up and check out the tree house. It's really cool. But one thing I will tell you, North Carolina grapes are muscadine grapes. What this means is they're sweet. So understand if you're going to get some Carolina wines, they're going to be more of like a Moscato style. Not to worry, they actually import wines from, grapes from all across the country, especially California. So you can get your Chardonnays, you can get anything you're looking for in a wine made at Treehouse Vineyards. Now they also have stuff like different, late night bands that come through. People host their weddings here. It is so pretty. Highly recommend going there in the spring, summer, fall. I'm just not a winter person, but honestly, it's been 75 degrees in winter here, so it really doesn't matter. So you can go out and enjoy some of the porch swings. Definitely a cool spot to hang out and check out. Now there are also breweries. There's a science center down here. There's so much going on. So whether you are moving here on your own or you are looking for a house, you're looking to rent, you're honestly looking for a place that's quiet enough but has something going on that you're not in the middle of nowhere, Monroe has what you're looking for. And again, you are tucked outside of Charlotte, but you're not that far. You're really not that far. In addition to that, when it comes to shopping, I didn't mention this, but food shopping and things like that, there's food stores all over here. You're not in a food desert. There's plenty going on. You can see there's even a Chick-fil-A close by. But there's plenty going on that you're not going to feel like you're in the middle of nowhere. So if you're looking for a great semi-rural town that's growing and booming, and you want to see a little equity growth in your home, Monroe might truly be the place for you. So I hope you got a ton of information out of this video, all about Monroe. And honestly, I'm still shocked that it's now being known for aviation, but given you got the executive airport there, it makes a whole lot of sense. Now, if you got some information and some value out of this video, go ahead and like and subscribe. I truly appreciate it. And I want to hear from you. What comments do you have? Do you like Monroe? Do you not like Monroe? Do you live there? Are you thinking of moving there? Or maybe you have interest in other areas of Charlotte. Drop it in the comments below. I really do want to hear from you, and I do answer all of my comments. I really do get calls, texts, and emails from people just like you looking to move to the Charlotte area as well as South Carolina. So if that's you, check out the description below. All of my contact information is there, and I really do want to hear from you. So whether it's 9 days or 90 days from now, moving across the world, the country, or just across town, give me a call, a text, an email. I want to make your move exactly what you want it to be. Until next time, I look forward to showing you around town.